Welcome back to the final day of the Nexus Games group stage, and we are halfway through the day because as of the previous match, we have no more possibilities for tiebreakers. Our playoffs are decided in terms of teams, but not in terms of positions. I am your host, Tetcher, and joining me is once again Kendrick and Bakery. Now, guys, this next matchup, this could be one of the highlights of the entire tournament, and this is the battle for first place in the group.
To be honest, if I had to choose a personal highlight between Poland and Spain or Sweden and Russia, it would be very hard to make a favorite because whereas Poland looked good, let's not get that wrong, Russia and Sweden are, I think, a little bit more closely matched because Russia has had signs of weakness, whereas Poland has looked immaculate.
Now, the important thing to note is you might think, oh, both teams are qualified, they don't need to try too hard, but they do because whoever loses this series has the potential to face Poland in the first round, which you do not want to do.
Very true. Very true.
These teams would love to avoid any of the first place teams. France looks scary. Poland looks scary. And Germany, they are scary and unpredictable. So it's a rough team to have to face. So either of these teams would prefer to go out of the group in first, and that is what they will be battling for.
Absolutely. That's a great point. All of the first place teams do have their own strengths. In terms of Poland's, the Polish team, there isn't even a weakness. Germany looks very unpredictable, very wonky. I wouldn't want to play against them. And France, of course, similar to the teams we're about to see right now, consists of a stacked roster of very talented players.
Well, let's have a look at the map vetoes to decide where we will be going for this battle. Sweden banning out the Black Hearts Bay, not wanting to play on that PvE-focused map, and favorite of Team Germany.
See, the Russian team is consisting of 3 of the old players from the original Virtus Pro roster, who were actually known specifically for playing Black Hearts Bay better than any other team in Europe, and also running 4 Blood for Bloods.
Yes, I don't even think that's possible anymore. We've lost a lot of Blood for Bloods. But either way, Russia, they banned out Warhead Junction, showing that both of these teams potentially want to play on a more standard map, and that is what we see, because the map is going to be Cursed Hollow.
Nice. But it also seems to confirm something that I talked about a little bit earlier. Haunted Mines making it into the competitive spirit a little bit more.
Backup plan.
Yeah, it seems to be a much more popular choice for those pro players than, let's say, the Warhead Junction or the Black Hearts Bay.
I think the thing about Haunted Mines is it feels very fair, if a little weird. There's no cheese that's been coming out on it. It's just been a lot of amazing games. And, of course, the one UK game went a bit weird. But other than that, I think, the Haunted Mines has been a fun map to watch. Of course, Warhead Junction and Black Hearts Bay, maybe not so much.
And so we begin into the draft. Cursed Hollow, Sweden versus Russia. And while we wait for Sweden's ban, remember, you can vote for the team you want to win in this matchup in chat by using the code #SEWin for Sweden or the code #RUWin for Team Russia. Right now, Russia is winning, but we shall see how that shifts throughout the draft as Russia ban out Tracer.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about Sweden here. If you take a look at the lineup here before the tournament started, you're like, well, they've got Knutti, they've got Henning, 2 members of Singularity, formerly Moi, and even players like Skoch and Rask are no unknown faces here in the European scene, but it doesn't seem to have really clicked yet with them. They're not really on the same level, I would say, as a team like Poland or France yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And Russia also had their issues when coming into the tournament. They looked very shaky in their scrims, but in the actual tournament so far, they have looked quite good. With the exception of the matchup against Portugal.
Yeah, Portugal. They were very much the sleeper team in this group, waking up and deciding to going into a secret agent mode and trying to assassinate one of these teams' chances. Unfortunately, Portugal did not make it through, but they really ran both these teams right to the edge as we see an Abatha coming in for Team Sweden.
All right, and we said it many times before, Cursed Hollow, one of the best, if not the best, Abatha map here available.
Yeah, absolutely. Abath, an absolute terror of a hero because he's so flexible at the highest level of play. He can always split soak He can always team fight, and of course, he's fantastic at skirmishing or even 1v1s that happen anywhere on the map.
And most importantly, the map objective on Cursed Hollow, of course, is also not as snowbally, I would say, as on other ones. Sky Temple is very unforgiving, Blackheart's Bay, but here, if you miss a couple of tributes early on, it's not really the biggest of deals.
Very true, and there's the fact that Abathur is actually relatively good at denying those tributes due to the fact his hat comes with one tiny little poke, but that's all it takes to interrupt the tribute channel.
Very true. So what are we going to see next to the Abathur? Potentially coming in. We need a good copy target. Oftentimes it is being combined with a Greymane. Oftentimes we see it with a Genji. The double mage copy combo has fallen a little bit of favor, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely it has. It's very easy for teams nowadays to recognize, hey, they just put all their eggs in the one basket and to run the other way. Whereas obviously running away from a Greymane or something like a Genji is much harder because they have mobility tools.
Okay.
So, like you said, mobility tools in the form of Brightwing. Ariel, not so mobile though.
Yeah, Oriole being
Until
picked
20.
up again on Cursed Hollow. It's seen mixed success at best, and so far, the only target I can see really is that Valor, so I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I just mentioned it there in joke, but I actually haven't had the chance to ask a pro support player this question. Is Angelic Flight any good? Like, is it ever worth picking?
No, I don't think so. I think it's fine. It's okay. It's a solid talent, but then you compare it to, I believe, Diamond Resolve or something like that.
I think so.
Ardent Resolve.
Shield of Hope.
And Shield of Hope.
Even Lightning Speed, if you were to take Resurrect, which is potentially more likely in the fact that a Resurrect upgrade talent is better than the Fly talent.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it just makes it very hard to justify picking, but I could maybe see one scenario.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Which is you are pushing in a lane.
Yeah.
The tribute spawns the other side. There is a team fight going on, and you take the talent specifically to fly to the boss or to the tribute just to make sure you can stall it. Okay. I think that's the only situation I'd ever see it being picked.
You're not a fan of the flying Ariel ganks? Fly Entertainment Strike?
Can't say that.
So the real question is, what do we need to do if it actually gets picked in this game? We find a new title for Tetra, or
we wait for the game to be paused because a player misclicked where they ask what the procedure is. But now, though, we are going to be seeing Li Ming coming in for Team Sweden, and that incredibly solid frontliner, great hat target, and pretty decent clone target in the Muradin.
And we talked about Team Sweden here, and we already found out that double support compositions is not something they always fall back on immediately, because we had several, assumptions about it. Maybe they don't have the players to really be strong on a secondary support. Do you think we're going to see a second support here go for a solo DPS Li Ming?
I don't think second support is available. Abathur very often fills that slot.
Exactly.
We do see Lost Vikings locked in, which we mentioned before on this desk. It's scary to go up against the Li Ming. But she doesn't ruin their day because she cannot hunt them down in lanes like something like a Genji can.
In team fights, Li Ming versus Vikings very much goes in favor of Li Ming, because he only needs one. In laning, Li Ming has issues versus Vikings.
I just wanted to check I'm not saying things here. Is Genji still up?
Genji is still up. You are not seeing things. It would be against a Brightwing and an ETC, but now there's Vikings on the board, so
and it is double reset.
It's double reset with Abathur, so potentially triple resets if you did want to commit.
It's a little bit rough though, isn't it? The laning phase already doesn't look too optimal for Team Sweden. With a Genji in the mix, I don't think they would have a lot of wave clip to really stop the format.
And they don't go for that. They go with Dahaka.
Yep.
We have Rhaegar Rave clear now. Muradin is very slow, but he is also very sustainy, so we can hold a lane. And Dahaka, very solid at laning. There's no Sonya for him to lane against as well, and he's a wonderful Viking hunter.
True.
Now, the Abathur copy, I want to talk about that really quickly. So this can be on one of three targets, basically. It can be on the Muradin, which is a standard copy we've seen pop up in the recent months, I would say, but it can also be on Rhaegar, which is something we saw pop up over 1 year ago now when Shad, the former Team Liquid player, now on Team Zealots, actually innovated this, where he would copy Rhaegar and he would run straight into backliner, like a Valor, like a Brightwing, and he would literally solo them. So it could be that. Or it could be the Li Ming copy, which is something that popped up very recently from Team Ballistics over in South Korea. Now, the Liming copy, the idea is you copy out a vision, you Mured in stun, they don't think they need to cleanse or blow anything, and 2 arcane orbs and 2 steps of arcane missiles come flying over a wall and absolutely just one-shot one person. So it's going to be interesting to see what style Sweden want to play, and if they play that Liming style, I want to see how they can pull it off.
It's going to be very interesting to see how they can put it off. But we can talk about how interesting they are all day, but who do you think potentially came out better?
To be honest, I think the Russian team looks very strong. However, if, as Bakery said, the double Liming pop off one of those Vikings, double resets are going to happen and things are going to get really, really scary.
Bakery?
I'm leaning towards Team Sweden myself. I think the Abathur's not great into Vikings, but they have Liming and they have Dehaka, and I think they can deal with it. I'm voting for Sweden.
Voting for Sweden. Final vote. Changing your mind?
I'm going for Russia. Sweden hasn't convinced me.
He's going for Russia. I like the idea of the Abathur Cup. I'm also going to lean towards Team Sweden as we are going to head into game number 1 in this best of 3 series to decide the first seed in Group D. And Kendrick, who's this over here on the left?
On the left-hand side, we've got the Swedes being represented by Henning and Knutti on that Liming and Rhaegar. We see Rask going for the Murden. Skoch is on that Dehaka. And last but not least, it is Daikarn on the Slugger.
And on the right, it is Team Russia with Kunichan on Valor, Mr. Bannerbear playing on the ETC. Crook is playing on the Ariel. Unstable is actually getting to play a support today. He's on the Brightwing and playing on the Lost Vikings. It is going to be the last player we will check. It's going to be Hydra. But currently, there was a bit of a distraction, which is why we didn't see that, as a tower was assaulted by Team Russia and not taken down, but it took a lot of damage.
Yeah, Unstable was indeed forced to play a lot of ranged assassin over the last few days. He was on the Vala. I'm not even sure if he was on the Tracer or not, but he was certainly not on supports. Kunichan mostly had this role, and it seemed to have swapped roles this time around because Kunichan is the Vala in this game. However, players of this caliber can definitely swap roles without losing too much of their danger potential. In the meantime, though, Kruglik, we see him pumping out those strong AoE heals on the Ariel and maintaining the momentum for this push.
Yeah, and he's using that cooldown reduction on the swing, keeping his energy count quite low with the help of Kunichan. So very nice job so far by Krug as this second tower begins to be assaulted.
And we can basically see here the weakness of Abathur against the Vikings. In the middle lane, there's nothing Abathur can do to really threaten the Balog. In the bottom lane, we see Eric and Olaf holding her own against the Dehaka, which is really, really solid. So one tower fell, true, but 2 and the gate in the top lane were also destroyed.
And here's something we've seen traditionally in the past, and that is that Abathur's can Dehakas can have issues against heroes with poke in lane, ranged poke. Yep. This would sometimes be in the form of a false stand. In this case, it's slow, but it's annoying. It's Eric, who can poke from serious distance.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. So Dehaka is probably not going to get out-pushed by 2 Vikings, but he's also not going to dominate the lane, which is definitely a big success.
Brook heals himself and a couple members of his team up after taking a little bit of Abathur poke, as Abathur symbioting to minions and dropping some poke damage. He's actually letting Balog push up the lane and then hatching onto buildings to try and slow down this Russian aggression.
And that's the big problem of Abathur. He cannot really step in lane. I mean, physically he could, but he would probably not do well there. And he cannot step in lane and push the Vikings back. He's always going to have to wait until the minions come in, until the wave comes in. But he will take damage on the structures in the meantime.
Brightwing ported back to base, but has now re-arrived. Dehaka is tunneling in. Looks like Sweden want to try and pick up some kills here.
Oh, easy gain.
Polymorph. Vanderbeer is zoning. The drag hits no one. Score dropping low. Kunichan taking through with the help of Ariel. And this attempt at a gank by Sweden gets nothing.
Masterful display by the Russian team here, using all of their crowd control abilities to really keep Dehaka in check, preventing him from using the drag, and as such, nothing really happened. And you can really see how this investment of resources and time into the gank that didn't come to fruition really cost the Swedish team. They're losing XP quite a lot.
Balog did go down here, so that is a bit of XP for Sweden here, but they're going to lose this tribute. They don't even leave lane. In the meantime, Rhaegar is grabbing mercenaries for his team. These Siege Giants have put a bit of a pain onto the top lane, which is potentially why Balog died and Abathur has been forced to leave that lane. He is teleported down, tunnel down to the bot lane.
But back we are with a 4-man top lane. The towers were already gone. Kunijan is fully stacked on Hatred. He even implemented a quick auto attack against the wall piece here so he wouldn't lose stack counts. Really, really well done. As such, his attack speed is insane. And even the mana regeneration, thanks to his level 1 talent, will keep on flowing. And that top fort already has taken a lot of damage, Thatcher.
Nice attainment strike by Ariel for extra good measure. But like you said, they are looking great. They even drop a phase shield to continue this push. Mule, though, Abathur. So now we're in a situation where Russia's pushes have to actually finish the job. They can't afford to leave anything half done.
Very true. The moment they will not be able to finish a building altogether, the Mule is always going to be there to repair it back up still.
Yeah.
Nice and solid damage. Mule is still doing his work, though.
Now, Rask is doing everything he can. Kunijan with the damage output. The Force survives, at least for a little bit, and the Mule is going to begin the slow and painful process to repair. Yeah. But Russia, they aren't done.
And I like the adjustment coming in here by Kunijan on the Vala as well. He's going for a multi-shock build that basically gives him stronger wave clear. And that's exactly what they need. They want to keep the enemy minion waves down and behind. By Mule was nice knowing you. And all of a sudden, the top lane is exposed. This is Russia's boss lane as well. Future boss attempts will be so much more rewarding.
They very nearly get the tribute as well, but Scott arriving just in time to interrupt this. Hydra is hovering around the area. He could make another attempt, and he is going to.
And look at the Vikings energy there as well. Olaf backing up his little buddy Eric with that slow upon his body check. Now they're buying enough time for their allies to arrive in the nick of time, and this is really going well. Unstable trying to use the minions as body blocks here. Nice polymorph, but barely, not enough.
I love the idea, polymorphing the person with crowd control, polymorphing that Muradin. If he'd been a little bit further north, he may have dodged that orb explosion, but Li Ming, as we saw, picking up the kill.
This could be a kill on Dehaka. No, he gets help from his Zerg buddy, Abathur. In the meantime, though, once again, more damage being dealt. The Mule wasn't able to save any of those structures. They get tower after tower, and level 10 is almost there.
Level 10 is creeping in for Team Russia. Sweden not too far behind. Abathur, despite having 3 bodies, he does sort of have 2 if he's lucky. But so he is helping his team keep up, and the members of Sweden have been staying in lane a lot more to make sure they can keep up in this XP. Drag is used onto ETC just as the last minion dies, so he will take actually 2 support shots.
Kunijan dodging the Stormbolt even by Rask. Really well done. Kunijan, keep in mind, for the most part of his player career, he was a support main, and now he's doing a really solid job on that Vala. In the meantime, though, they need to be careful, Team Russia, that the flank by Li Ming, by Knuti, is not going to catch them red-handed.
So no unusual heroics for either the teams, but we'll talk about the ones that could be alternated. We see the isolation for Dehaka, Wave of Force for the Li Ming. No hard engage attempts from the solo tank Muradin. He's sticking with that avatar. And we do see from the other side, no strafe, the Rain of Vengeance.
There goes one.
Beautiful kill. Nice job by Sweden. Every little helps here in terms of XP. EDZ committing to a mosh pit.
There we go. Kunijan was going super deep because he realized no more crowd control was available because Rask had just used it. Now it is a full-blown fight. Mr. Bannerbear, a huge mosh pit.
A beautiful play by Nuti here, though. Able to turn it round with a Wave of Force to interrupt the mosh pit and then picking up the kill onto ETZ as Rask gets Ancestral, keeping himself alive. He's looking for a single Viking here, but he's abandoning his team to do so. Another nice Wave of Force. Polymorph expires, but another kill. Nuti getting resets, but he's running low on mana.
He's running low on mana. Still so many Vikings here. Each of those Vikings could be another potential reset, though, but Knuti is running low on mana, and sometimes Li Ming's greatest enemy is her own enemy. Is her own mana bar. There we go.
Sometimes the person I hate is the person I hate. As we see Hydra, he was trying to run past for a drive-by deny, but instead, dodge the Stormbolt. Oh, Hydra, he's so fast. Eric the Swift, he's in full retreat. Heavy impacts available, and he's using the Eric the Swift, but it's not enough, and Hydra does go down.
He almost made it there with the help of Brightwing, but in the end, Muradin had a say in that. And despite a really good early game phase, look at Team Sweden here. I mean, Russia was dominating for the first couple of minutes, but Team Sweden, as you said earlier, Tetcher, they were not falling behind too much in experience, and they're actually catching up, taking a slight lead, and all of a sudden, we may see the Swedish team being the first ones to get a tribute if this trend continues.
We will have to see as Team Sweden moving down to this tribute. This will put them on 2. However, if Russia gets it, it is a curse. The mines are around this area. A couple from Abatha. They have yet to be popped. There we go. Kunichat does get demounted. Rask will interact with a Storm Bolt, but eats a multi-shot and an auto attack for his trouble.
In the meantime,
Orb
we
is
still
blocked.
need to wait for Hydra.
Oh, Wave of Force, what a deny.
Yeah, the Wave of Force denied it up to this point. Still 8 seconds until a potential mosh pit will be ready. We see the double Arcane Orb, but it is not enough. Muradin was not sure if he had what it takes to really initiate a team fight. Dihaka was also busy defending the top lane, and as such, only the Mule is going to help Team Sweden to defend this.
Yeah, and the Mule actually does get retargeted. It was repairing the fountain, but the phase of BTC moved it onto the form. Which does go down. Uh-oh, panic. Wave of Force was attempted there, but unfortunately, Daikon coming out of the ultimate evolution into the worst possible position.
Yeah, unfortunately, you respawn at the location you used the copy from, and that was unfortunately not where it was supposed to be at. The slug ends up giving its life, and now this is basically an opportunity presented on the servo tablet here for Team Russia. Not only were they able to get the bottom fort, they're also going to take the next tower lane. And look at the Vikings, top and bottom are being proxied here to get maximum value.
Rask is being a big distraction though, trying to hold back any of the members and prevent this keep from going down. 10 seconds left for Russia to do this within curse time, but there's still minions available even after the curse ends. As we see Muradin trying to fight on top of them, so those minions do go down to prevent that fort from having to shoot anything but the enemy heroes. Rask doing an amazing job of frontlining here.
Unstable doing God's work on that Brightwing. Casting Pixie Dust whenever Li Ming is about to hit someone with the Arcane Orb, blocking so much of that ability damage. It is crazy to see how sustaining the team from Russia here becomes. And
Isolation.
Nobody
Too
saw that.
ambitious there. Too ambitious.
Yeah, very ambitious. I mean, the range by Isolation is sometimes larger or bigger than you thought it would be, but there it was definitely too, you know, too reckless.
They're able to pick up another kill here onto Olaf, and on the right side, Rask was able to complete his Stillbolt talent. ETC, though, he's got that prog rock.
Yeah, prog rock now being completed is a huge deal. Nice AoE healing, especially with the Vikings. It procs on every single one of them. In the meantime, speaking of the Vikings, they were able to steal away the Siege Giant camp on behalf of Sweden. And of course, with Eric, the Swift going... he didn't go for Mercenary Lord. No, he only went for the Bribe.
Yeah, he went for, the Bribe, Mercenary Lord, split to win, jump, and I believe that is Larkin in charge, the Olaf Stern.
So yeah, those mercenaries can really hurt, and 16 benches here, and that is the reason why the Russian team enters this boss pit so confidently.
ETC does get stunned, but there's no reaction from Sweden yet. Like you said, 16 advantage in favor. The boss is going down. This would have to be an insanely risky engage. Abatha would have to clone maybe Muradin to give them the chance to attack through this. Rask is going in, and he does clone the Muradin. Scott does not land the root, and here's the Emerald Twin. Heading, will Feral Lodge in, but Bannerbeer secures it with the face spell, but they're still trying to get some kills from this. The silence onto Bannerbeer is expired already, as Scott is the target. He'll get Ancestral. He might not have needed it, though, in fact, for his own sustain.
So much sustain provided by Oriel, and especially Brightwing here in that team fighting situation. The Emerald Wind was golden, isolating and spreading out the formation of Team Sweden, and then it was a relatively easy job by Bannerbeer to really get the capture platform. Muradin wasn't enough to really contest it, and here goes Muradin. The stun is not landing because of a good cleanse.
Very good cleanse, Mule. You are too little, too late, friend, as the keep goes down. The bot at half health, as we see the continued aggression. They're able to pick up some kills here. It could be GG. It's down goes to Haka. There's the mosh pit. Muradin focus Wave of Force to keep him alive as he's stunned again. The CC trade on Rask as he's taken out. And it's going to be the core attempt from Russia. Li Ming, though, is here for the defense, but the health bars are so high.
The Russian pain train is holding at the core of Team Sweden, and it looks like nothing is going to stop them. It is going to be GG as the core is falling under the mighty pressure of the boss, the Vikings, and everyone else Team Russia had to offer. Tetcher, that was a very solid performance here in game number 1.
Absolutely. Sweden showing some signs of brilliance, but Russia, the second they got control, they grabbed hold. A beautiful boss fight, a clutch Emerald Wind, and of course ETC calm and collected under pressure. Very well done by Team Russia. They take game number 1.
And you could really see what we were kind of worrying about during the draft. The Vikings eventually outmaneuvering and outpushing an Abatha team composition. The Swedish team did a good job holding against it, but in the end, it was just not enough.
Yeah, absolutely. We, again and again, we always see this. The Lost Vikings hard counter Abatha, and I feel like maybe if that was a Genji that on the last pick. I know it's a bit weird, but that was the piece they needed to shut down the Vikings completely and actually win this game.
Also strong performance by both Russian support players, I feel. Especially the Brightwing always landing the teleports when it was needed. The Emerald Winds were good. Very little mistakes overall.
The Pixie Dust as well.
Pixie Dust blocked so much leaving damage.
Unstable, getting to play a support hero where he didn't actually get to in some of the previous games. Bakery, what do you got for us?
Well, the Oreo and Brightwing were really important. And this team fight, they didn't do quite enough. So that's why we're going to see actually Sweden win this. So as it starts off, the Oreo E does not connect. And this is Sweden's cue to engage. So they go in, the Hacker already digging in as well. Now, once they arrive, look how much damage the ETC takes. He's already so low. He starts the mosh pit, but it's just too little, too late. He gets almost taken out instantly after, of course, being interrupted by, I think, the Wave of Force. However, Scott instantly going down. The Abathur clone also almost instantly going down to a fantastic Emerald Wind, but unstable. And Cecil goes onto Mjolnir. Now, I want you guys to watch what Knuti on the Li Ming does here in the backline. He's hitting so many spells, a 3-man Arcane Orb there, and he trades back onto the Valor and puts her in a terrible position. And perfect follow-up, takes her down. Insane team fight obviously going on, and this was really important for Sweden to stay in the game because that was 2 tributes for Russia.
In 2 words or fewer, standard map or chaotic map next?
Standard. It is too important of a series still